for his blessings. Over to Dr. Saraf sir. Dr. Saraf sir.
Mr. Jafar, Mr. Srivastav, Mr. Gupta, Mr. Madan, and all other organizers as well as the delegates of this present webinar. I'm really happy that the All India Federation, the North Zone of the All India Federation, under the leadership of Jafarji, Guptaji, and Srivastavji, are taking the lead of organizing the series of the webinars, and which will go a long way in this COVID period, because people are just sitting idle in their residences without the court matters, and at least this time can be utilized for gathering some knowledge. And my only suggestion is that, you see, the subjects whichever you choose, although present one subject is very correct, it should not be a broad subject, it should be a limited one, so that on that subject people can get the full knowledge or the idea about the subject. Because if you have a very broad subject, then within 20 minutes, 30 minutes, nothing will come out. But if you take only a particular subject and very limited one, and have a study one webinar on that one, then at least on that subject, you can have a full idea about that one. Otherwise, the webinars will become a general webinar like we have used to have in the NTCs and the technical sessions, where the 30 minutes, 20 minutes are given, a broad subject is given. You have chosen the subject very correctly today, and I'm sure that in future also, whenever you organize the webinars, the subject will be, you may keep in consideration my suggestion that the subject should be very limited one, and on a particular, focusing on only a particular point only, and on that you should discuss. Rest the speakers, I am only hearing all the webinars only to have a knowledge about because I also want to have knowledge, the GST and all other speakers, I want to learn something from the people. And in fact, I have also had the opportunity of listening to the great speakers of our federation. And I congratulate once again to the organizers and for giving me the opportunity to meet you all and also to participate in the webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Saraf, for your kind words of wisdom to us. I am sure that we have taken up the issues exactly in the spirit in which you spoke to us. The different chapters of GST law have been taken on different dates, so that on one day our attempt is that in one day we should cover up that particular chapter, one chapter only, and discuss the intricacies of that chapter. Secondly, this is supposed to be an interactive program where the audience or the members who are attending, they would also be raising their queries so that their doubts, let's say, are clarified. The broad outline would be given by Mr. H.L. Madan as to how we are going ahead in the next 8 days, so that by the end of the seminar, we feel that a person and a professional with maybe about 5 to 10 years experience, or people, fresher, beginners, or those who staff our offices, they do gain from some knowledge on this intricate subject. Thank you very much for blessing the program. And I request Mr. Madan to kindly take over the program from now onwards. Kindly unmute Mr. Madan. Anuj, unmute Mr. Madan. Right.
Hello. Hello.
You are audible, sir. You are audible.
Okay. Thank you, Srivastav ji, and thank you very much, Ashok Saraf sir, for your valuable guidance. And we have tried to give sufficient time to the speaker, 1 hour or 75 minutes for this topic, and we will be speaking very less on this subject. And even in addressing and welcoming also, we will try to consume as minimum time as possible. So immediately I request Shri Raj K. Batra ji, who is our guest of honor today, to just to introduce, give his blessings. And before that, I just inform you that Mr. Raj K. Batra is a star of Delhi Sales Tax Bar Association. He had been president of Sales Tax Bar Association for 3 years, as well as he is one of the kingmakers of Sales Tax Bar Association. He he has represented Delhi government, Department of Trade and Taxes in tribunal as well as in High Court also. And he will be enlightening us and he will be giving his blessings and just initiating the topic for the for the benefit of members, and thereafter we will immediately after having blessings from Shri KL Goyal, we will immediately start to the speakers. Thank you. Raj K Batra sir. Batra sahab.
Kindly unmute. Batra, kindly unmute yourself.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
Chairman of today's session, respected Shri KL Goyal ji, Senior Advocate, Punjab and Haryana High Court. Dr. Ashok Saraf, immediate past President. Speaker of the day, CA Dharmendra Srivastava ji. Course Director, Shri H.L. Madan ji. Vice President, North Zone, Shri A.K. Srivastava ji. Chairman, North Zone, Shri Asim Zafar ji. Other dignitaries present on the panel are in the audience.
Unknown caller.
Hello. Yeah.
Respected seniors and dear friends, good evening to you all. I welcome you all to this second session of workshop on GST, which is for young professionals, beginners in the profession, junior and staff of senior members of the profession. We all know the bitter truth that seniors in any office do not have any time to teach the juniors or to explain nitty-gritties of the law. Ultimately, it falls back on the junior himself to learn by himself, and that too to the expectation and satisfaction of his seniors. In such a scenario, vision of AIFTP North Zone and more particularly Course Director FCA Shri H.L. Madan has come as a hope for youngsters to learn the nitty-gritties of law at a faster pace. I thank All India Federation and CA H.L. Madan ji for taking up this noble cause. It is one way of giving back to society what society has given you. I appreciate this effort from the core of my heart. Somewhere I had read that money can buy an object, but not the thought process, that is knowledge, that went into creating that object. Hence, knowledge is superior. It is better to be looked up to as knowledgeable person rather than a rich person. The next is, if you are planning for a year, you sow rice. If you are planning for a decade, plant trees. If you are planning for a lifetime, educate people. And the third, the most important one is, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. These are the words of Nelson Mandela. With these words, I come to the topics of the day. 3 topics have been selected. One is concept of levy. The second is composition schemes for traders, manufacturers, and services. Third is reverse charge mechanism, which will touch upon forward charge also. Levy of any tax in any taxing statute has to be through a charging section, which levies tax and fixes liability to tax. While dealing with liability to tax, there is no question of any intendment or equity. Unless charge is created by a specific provision of the statute, the taxpayer cannot be taxed on unambiguous provisions. The core of a taxing statute, as we all know, is in the charging section, and the provision levying such a tax and defining persons who are liable to tax. If such code disappears, remaining provisions have no efficacy. In levy of tax, first is character of the imposition known as levy. Second is clear indication of the person on whom it is levied and who is obliged to pay. Third is the rate at which it is to be paid. And fourth is value on which it is to be paid. It must be noted that there is substantial difference in the nature of tax liability under income tax and indirect taxes like GST. Under GST, the moment a supplier makes either an outward supply or inward supply which is subject to tax, obligation to pay tax arises. Whereas in income tax, only if you have income from these various transactions, the liability comes. Composition schemes. These were initially introduced for the small dealers, but then certain trades, manufacturers, and services raised the question that it's not possible for those illiterate people or small dealers to have the accounts made and present the data and documents required under the statute. So to give relief to those people, composition schemes were introduced. Now we have several composition schemes and the learned speaker would dwell into those. Reverse charge mechanism is a mechanism in which the outward supplier doesn't pay or he is exempt, like we lawyers. In our case, the tax is ultimately paid by the person who receives our services. So all these three things are interconnected, and I hope and I'm confident that learned speaker will clarify all the issues involved in it. Thank you all. Over to Madan Sahab.
Madan sir.
गुप्ता जी आप अनम्यूट नहीं कर सकते हो?
सर मैं उनको हो गए, अनम्यूट हो गए.
हेलो, हाँ आ रही है बस?
हाँ जी सर.
आ गई.
अच्छा, बत्रा साहब, thank you very much for your words of wisdom and blessings to all of us to continue with the program. In the meantime, I come to know that Mr. H.C. Bhatia has also joined. Sir, you are also welcome. In the last lecture, where Mr. H.C. Bhatia has been the guest of honor, at that point of time, I was asked to introduce him. And when introducing, I said that he remained president of Sales Tax Bar Association for 5 terms. But later on, he told me, Mr. Madan, I had been for 4 terms. So today, whenever you introduce Mr. Rajke Batra and others at that point of time, please just share with the members that by mistake, I said for 5 years. So he has made a clarification. So I request all of you to read it as it is. Now, the next, our chairman is there, Mr. K.L. Goyal. Yes, Mr. Srivastava?
एक मिनट just.
Yes, Srivastava ji.
Senior people, can you hear me now? So in today's program, we have very senior people, Mr. Kaushal from Ludhiana,
Okay.
and Mr. K.C. Gupta, Chartered Accountant from Delhi, who has 61 years of experience in the profession. So we welcome such senior people, and we are glad that these people have come to join this program, and we would definitely gain from the words of their wisdom. Thank you.
Gupta ji, welcome. Gupta ji, welcome. Now I will not take much time and request Shri K.L. Goyal ji straight away. But Mr. Srivastava ji, please introduce Mr. K.L. please.
अच्छा, मैं बोल देता हूँ अनुज को. हाँ, ठीक.
Srivastava sir, please introduce KL Goyal sir.
KL, I think Virender Sharma is to do. Virender ne kaha tha he will be there. If he is there, otherwise, if he is not there till now, then I'll introduce Goyal sir. Sir, Mr. KL Goyal, senior advocate from Punjab, is a very old person in the profession. I think he's been there for more than 50 years in the profession, and is a designated senior advocate of Punjab and Haryana High Court. He has basically been in the field of indirect taxes and commercial laws. He has been, Mr. Goyal has been the chairman of North Zone of AFTP in the year 14-15. I think if I remember correctly, it was the year 14 and 15 when he was. And he has, whatever we have seen in Mr. Goyal, that he has great capability of technical analysis of any issue that is put before him. As well, when I talk to people in Punjab area about any tax issue or any on indirect taxes, one name that they have always been suggesting is, sir, talk to Mr. KL Goyal. And I tell them that yes, I know him well, that okay, and they are all happy that okay, we are happy that we have him today, though after a gap of time, that yes, I have also talked to him after a couple of months, but Mr. Goyal would be in a position to give us his words of wisdom and the blessing for the program. Over to Mr. Goyal.
Thank you, Mr. Vastava. My senior friend, Dr. Saraf, senior advocate, National Vice President, Mr. Srivastava, North Zone Chairman, Mr. Yafar, Secretary, Mr. Paneet Singh, my senior friend, Mr. Raj Batra, Mr. Bhatia, Mr. Madan, Anujji, Sanjayji, honorable members and participants. It is a matter of pleasure for all of us that All India Federation of Tax Practitioners is organizing webinars on different tax subjects. The office bearers of North Zone are putting extra effort to make these webinars most participating and successful. The subjects being discussed by eminent speakers of national level are of daily use to the tax advocates, chartered accountants, and other persons who are practicing on this taxation side, practicing law on this taxation side. As we all know, GST is creating new problems every day. It is the most complicated law consisting of central acts, state acts, rules, circulars, instructions, and other decisions of GST Council. We can say that nobody can be perfect on the issues under GST law in this kind of atmosphere. Sometimes even the tax council show their helplessness in solving the problems of taxpayers. Today, the eminent chartered accountant, Mr. Dharmendra Srivastava from Kanpur, will be speaking on the subject of concept of levy of GST with reference to composition scheme and reverse charge mechanism. As already stated by Mr. Raj Batra, composition scheme is a scheme under GST for small taxpayers. They can get rid of tedious GST formalities and pay GST at a fixed rate of turnover. When compared to normal GST filing of documents, the composite scheme offers two many benefits: reduced paperwork, its compliance, and lower tax liability. For instance, normal taxpayers need to submit 3 monthly returns and 1 annual return. However, if one has opted for composition scheme, he needs to file only 1 quarterly return and 1 annual return. This scheme can be opted by any taxpayer whose turnover is less than 1.5 crores. However, this scheme cannot be availed by certain people, that is person making interstate supply, etc. On this issue, the learned speaker will give all the details on the issue. On the reverse charge mechanism was introduced during the period of service tax. Generally, tax is payable by the person who provides services work under reverse charge mechanism. The liability to pay tax is shifted to recipient of services. the concept of reverse charge mechanism is incorporated under GST, but in the GST regime, government has notified not only supply of certain services, but also supply of certain goods under RCM.
Those who are having any
The
questions and
objective
doubt in
of
chat
our reverse
box or
charge
can raise
mechanism
hand
is
in the
to
last
widen the
minute.
scope of levy of tax on unorganized sectors and give exemption to specific class of supplier of goods, service and import of service. The learned speaker shall give all the details on this issue also in today's webinar. I hope all the members and participants will be enriched with the knowledge of GST on these issues with the fruitful discussion by the eminent speaker. I am thankful to the organizers for arranging this webinar and giving me an opportunity to participate in it. I welcome all the participants. Thank you, please.
Anuj, kindly unmute Mr. Madan. We can't hear him.
I have already done, sir.
वो उनकी तरफ से नहीं हुआ है. I think from his end he is not unmuted himself. Madan sahab, आप kindly unmute yourself. Madan sahab, हाँ, kindly.
Okay. So Srivastava ji, sir, thank you very much, KL Goyal sir, for your words of wisdom and blessings to all of us. Now, without taking much time, I will request A.K. Srivastava ji to immediately introduce respective speaker, Shri Dharmendra sir.
Well, our another member, Mrs. Jamna Shukla, would introduce the speaker, and I request her to kindly introduce Dharmendra Srivastava, the speaker for today. Over to Jamna ji. Hello. Acha, मैं करा बुक. Okay, thank you. Anuj, kindly also unmute the speaker. So
I have done.
अच्छा, आप उनको आ रहा कि नहीं? Jamna ji, can you hear me?
I have given permission to unmute them. Sorry.
नहीं, Jamna ji के.
सर मैंने परमिशन दे दिया, मैम को अपने आप करना पड़ता है अनम्यूट वहां से ना, वो मैंने यहाँ से अलाउ कर दिया है.
हाँ, okay.
Am I audible, please?
Yes,
yeah.
She is audible now.
Yeah, one second. Thank you, AK sir, and everyone for providing me this opportunity to introduce our very, very beloved and CA friend, Shri Dharmendra Srivastava ji. He is a fellow chartered accountant and practicing since more than 22 years. He is a member in associations of great repute like member in Regional Advisory Committee, Central Excise, Customs and Service Tax, Kanpur. Member of Associations of Arbitrators, Kanpur. And there are so many, but some reputed one I will be taking here. He is an advisor, GST Committee of Merchants Chamber of Uttar Pradesh. He is faculty and speakers in many seminars held by our National Academy of Custom Excise and Narcotics and Service Tax, Institute of Chartered Accountant of India, Institute of Company Secretaries of India, and of course our All India Federation also, AIFTP. And he has professional excellency in dealing with exclusively in GST, service tax, and appearing before various authorities, including CSTAT. In-depth knowledge of indirect taxes, expert of consultancy and litigation matters, and so on. So with this word, I welcome you, Dharmendra sir. Over to AK sir.
Thank you, Jamna ji, for giving us the detailed brief. We generally say it's a detailed brief of Dharmendra Srivastava ji. In fact, maybe this would be my second or third occasion to hear him. And I'm looking forward to his talk on the subject, especially since I handle direct taxes. I do not have in-depth knowledge of GST, and maybe his talk would be enlightening to me. Over to Dharmendra Srivastava.
Thank you, Srivastava sir. Thank you, Jamna ma'am. Respected chairman of the session, KL Goyal ji, respected Raj Batra ji, respected HL Madan sir for conceptualization whole idea of this program, chairman of North Zone Asim Jafar ji, secretary Puneet Singh ji, respected Ashok Saraf ji, and respected seniors and dear friends. I'm grateful to Mr. Srivastava for providing me this opportunity to discuss the topic of levy, composition scheme, and reverse charge mechanism. At the outset, Madan sir, the concept of this type of seminars and webinars, which are very useful for beginners, young practitioners, and staff, is very, very, very important. And I'm very grateful to all of you to provide this opportunity. Just give me a few seconds so that I can share my presentation, and thereafter I will. सर स्लाइड दिखाई पड़ रही श्रीवास्तव सर?
हाँ जी सर, हाँ जी।
Okay. ठीक है, perfect.
Thank you. Since we have to cover 3 topics, first one is levy of GST, that is charging section, which is governed by section 9. And the second very important and very useful topic is composition levy, composition scheme, which is governed by section 10. And in the last segment, we will discuss reverse charge mechanism, which is governed by section 9.4 and section 9.3 of the Act. I'm aware that this program is for beginners, for young chartered accountants. So I will try to discuss all 3 topics in a very simple manner, in a very practical manner, and in the way that if we are dealing these issues in our chambers, how to deal all these 3 issues. As per my understanding, in any indirect tax, 3 steps are very important. Rather, I should say, there are 3 important segments of indirect tax. The first one is determination of tax liability. And once I am saying determination of tax liability, meaning thereby to identify taxable event, taxable transaction, and you may say it as charging section. And thereafter you should calculate, you should determine your net tax liability. And once I am saying net tax liability, meaning thereby your output tax liability, including liability under RCM mechanism, less eligible input tax credit. Once you calculated your net tax liability, the third important step is to discharge this net tax liability and to report appropriate authority in appropriate manner. Naturally, everything is automatic. So you have to report your required information through GSTN, GST portal that is called GSTN, but we will try to concentrate on first segment, that is charging and levy section. The charging section is section 9. Subsection 1 deals with the levy of GST. Subsection 2 speaks about exclusion of certain specified goods for the time being. Subsection 3 and 4 belongs to RCM. Subsection 5 empowers the government to notify certain services on which tax is to be paid by electronic commerce operator. Friends, Section 9 says that subject to the provision of subsection 2, there shall be levied a tax called the Central Goods and Service Tax on all intrastate supplies of goods or services or both. So the first important segment is that you cannot charge GST unless there is not a supply. Supply of what? Supply of goods or services or both. There may be a question in the mind of participants that why lawmaker has used the word both, because there may be transaction of supply of goods or services, but they are using the term goods or services or both. I'm of the opinion that lawmaker were of the view that there may be a situation where transaction is combination of goods and services. So avoid any kind of future litigation, everywhere they are using the term supply of goods, services or both. So for the charging section, it is very important to understand that in absence of supply, there shall not be levy of GST. However, in charging section, there is a one exclusion segment. They are saying that except on the supply of alcoholic liquor for human consumption, meaning thereby every supply shall be subject to GST except supply of alcoholic liquor for human consumption. It is important to note, and it is very interesting to note, that alcoholic liquor shall be excluded only if end use is human consumption. Say, if supply of liquor is intended for other than human consumption, I'm of the opinion in that case, such supply shall be subject to GST. Value, once you had identified that yes, there is a supply and supply is for goods and services, then determination of value shall be in accordance with section 15. And the rate of GST cannot exceed 20%. The government has already notified rate of GST for goods separately by way of notification number 1/2020, and there is a notification, rate notification for services, that is notification 11/2017. Now question is that who will pay the GST? GST must be paid by the taxable person. So if you will analyze section 9 R, I must say that if I am sitting in my chamber and someone is coming in my chamber to ask whether I should discharge GST, whether I am liable to pay GST, my simple question should be from my client, are you engaged in supply of goods or services? The coming visiting person may ask that, what do you mean by the supply? The term supply is defined in section 7. If you will read section 7, it is inclusive definition. It says supply includes. I'm not going into detail because the topic in relation to supply related provision is to be dealt by another learned speaker in next session. But my understanding is limited up to the point that once you are dealing with the charging section, we must be very clear that in section 9, there is no inclusion clause. When I'm saying there is no inclusion clause, it means that there is no deeming provision to deem any transaction as a taxable transaction. Let us try to clarify further that in service tax era, there was a concept of declared service. In VAT,
Sir, thank you, sir. Sir, so rest karo tusi. Okay, thank you very much, thank you.
In service tax era, there was a concept of declared service, and declared service was nothing but a deeming provision. So in the service tax era, the taxability was expanded not only to rendering of services, but certain transactions were treated as, deemed as taxable services. But at least I'm not able to find out any provision in GST law which says that following transactions shall be treated as deemed supply. Let me supplement my argument by saying that earlier there was a certain confusion in section 7 subsection 1 clause D. This clause D is being omitted by Finance Act 2018, and another subsection 1A is being included. What is the net effect? Net effect is that earlier there was impression that items, transactions notified in Schedule 2 issued under Section 7, can those transactions be treated as deemed supply of goods or services? But subsequently, after omission of clause D and inclusion of subsection 1A, now it is very clear that items indicated, items notified, and items included in Schedule 2 is merely for classification. Any transaction cannot be taxed by stating that it is covered under Schedule 2 unless it is not falling under definition of supply. So my first humble submission is that whenever we are dealing with chargeability of GST, particular section 9 subsection 1, we must be very clear that there is an exclusion clause, but there is no inclusion clause. What is excluded from the charging section? Alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Section 9 subsection 1 says that subject to subsection 2. Let us try to understand what is the significance of subsection 2. Subsection 2 says that the central tax on the supply of petroleum crude, high-speed diesel, motor spirit, commonly known as petrol, natural gas, and aviation turbine fuel shall be levied with effect from such date as may be notified by the government, meaning thereby, for the time being, these items are being excluded from the chargeability of GST. So
sorry,
now,
Dharmendra, sorry to interrupt. A request has been received in chat to speak in mixed language, English and Hindi.
okay.
So one request is there in the chat box. So to speak in a comfortable language, just the request is.
Yeah. Because I can recall earlier webinar where we were getting messages in chat box that speakers should speak only in English.
Actually, sir, in case
anyway,
so one request is there in the chat box.
Yeah, Anuj. Thank you, Anuj. Anuj, you can interrupt at any time because technically मेरे screen में केवल मेरा presentation आ रहा है.
अच्छा.
So because I'm not very technical expert, so at any time you can interfere.
Thank you, sir.
कोई आवाज नहीं आ रही. तो मैं ये डिस्कशन कर रहा था कि जब आप जीएसटी की चार्जेबिलिटी को टेस्ट करते हैं और प्रैक्टिकल मैनर से टेस्ट करते हैं, तो चार्जेबिलिटी सेक्शन ये कहता है कि जीएसटी कहां लगेगा. जीएसटी शैल बी लेवीड ऑन ऑल फॉर्म ऑफ सप्लाई ऑफ गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज एक्सेप्ट अल्कोहलिक लिकर फॉर ह्यूमन कंजम्पशन. इसके अलावा the moment you will read subsection 2 ये बिल्कुल नहीं कहता है कि जो आइटम सबसेक्शन 2 में लिखे हैं उनके ऊपर जीएसटी नहीं लगेगा. सबसेक्शन 2 सिर्फ ये कहता है कि फॉर द टाइम बीइंग these items shall not be subject to GST. However, in future, government may include and cover these items within purview of GST after notifying in official gazette. Now, who will discharge GST? I had already explained that GST, once you had identified that yes, this is the taxable transaction, this is the applicable rate as per notification number 1 or notification 11, which depends whether you had identified that particular transaction as supply of goods or supply of services. The term goods and services is defined in GST law, but that will be dealt by learned speaker at the time of discussion of the supply. Who will discharge GST? GST shall be discharged by taxable person in a manner prescribed in relevant rule. Now, question is, who is taxable person? The term taxable person is defined in section 2 subsection 107. It says that taxable person means a person who is registered or liable to be registered under section 22 and or section 24. I had already discussed that at least I am not able to find out any proposition under GST law that someone may suggest that scope of GST covered any deemed supply. Once you will refer Schedule 1, Schedule 1 refers cases where activity shall be treated as supply even if made without consideration. Schedule 2 refers classification of supply as supply of goods or services. Schedule 3 refers activities or transactions which shall be treated neither as a supply of goods nor a supply of services. यहाँ पर एक बार रुक करके फिर से मैं समझाने की कोशिश करता हूं कि जो भी हमारे यंग प्रैक्टिशनर हैं वो अभी तक के डिस्कशन को अगर आप एक साथ देखने की कोशिश करेंगे तो चार्जेबिलिटी के लिए चार्जेबल सेक्शन से कुछ चीजें एक्सक्लूड की गई। पहला जो एक्सक्लूजन है वो अल्कोहलिक लिकर फॉर ह्यूमन कंजम्पशन, एंड देयर आफ्टर यू मे रिफर शेड्यूल 3. Schedule 3 speaks that following transactions or activities shall neither be treated as supply of goods or services, meaning thereby transactions appearing in Schedule 3 shall be out of purview of levy of GST. The third important limb may be exemption notification. Exemption notification, once I am saying exemption notification, meaning thereby notification number 2 by 2017 and notification number 12 by 2017. Notification number 2 जो सप्लाई ऑफ गुड्स के एग्जम्पशन की बात करता है, नोटिफिकेशन नंबर 12 by 2017 सप्लाई ऑफ सर्विसेज के एग्जम्पशन की बात करता है। तो इसका मतलब यह है कि all forms of supply of goods or services are both shall be subject to GST except item excluded from section 9 subsection 1, items appearing schedule 3, and transaction or supplies notified as exempt supply in respective notifications. Friends, once we discussed the concept of levy of GST, another important area of discussion is composition scheme. निश्चित रूप से ओपनिंग रिमार्क्स में हमारे लर्नेड चेयरमैन और दूसरे स्पीकर्स ने हम सबको समझाया कि जो कंपोजिशन स्कीम है ये स्मॉल यानी छोटे मैन्युफैक्चरर, ट्रेडर्स और सर्विस प्रोवाइडर्स के लिए है। सवाल यह है कि कंपोजिशन लेवी या कंपोजिट लेवी का जीएसटी में इंपॉर्टेंस क्यों है? बिकॉज हम सभी ये समझते हैं कि जब हम डे टू डे जीएसटी का प्रैक्टिस करते हैं एंड इफ यू आर रजिस्टर्ड एज ए रेगुलर सप्लायर, सो देयर आर सर्टेन compliances, and if we try to spot compliances by a regular supplier, we have to submit monthly GSTR 3B, meaning thereby 12 returns are required in the form of GSTR 3B, then monthly or quarterly GSTR 1. The third important compliance for a regular supplier, compliances of input tax credit. And once we are discussing or once we are referring in compliances of input tax credit, meaning thereby a regular supplier has to test eligibility of input tax credit, or reconciliation with GSTR 2A, time limitation of 180 days from date of invoice, that whether consideration along with GST is being paid within 180 days or not. Then there is a section 16 subsection 4. There is a time limit to avail input tax credit. If you are engaged in supply of exempted and taxable, non-taxable or taxable supply, then compliance of rule 42-43 is there, meaning thereby you have to identify proportionate eligible and non-eligible credit. इसका मतलब ये है कि अगर आप रेगुलर टैक्स पेयर हैं, आप रेगुलर सप्लायर है, तो आपकी कंप्लायंसेस इन कंपैरिजन कंपोजिट लेवी बहुत ज्यादा होती है। When I was preparing this presentation, since I belong to a very small village, मैं ये सोच रहा था कि मेरे कस्बे में जो एक परचून की दुकान चलाता है, जिसकी टर्नओवर 50 लाख 60 लाख रुपए है, अगर उस हम दुकानदार से या एक फार्मास्यूटिकल की दुकान चला रहा है, उसको अगर मैं ये बोलूं कि साहब आपको हर महीने आपको 3B फाइल करना है, आपको GSTR 1 फाइल करना है, इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट की बहुत सारी कंप्लायंसेस को ध्यान में रखना है, probably it will be very difficult for a small trader, a small manufacturer. So in the background of these complications, government has come forward with an alternative mechanism, and that is composite levy. Because in composite levy, there are only limited compliances. कौन सी limited compliances हैं? अगर आपने composition scheme को opt किया हुआ है, then due tax is to be discharged on quarterly basis, and the relevant form is GST CMP 08. जब क्वार्टर खत्म होता है उसके 18वें दिन तक जमा कर देना है. There is no requirement to file GSTR 3B. Only one requirement is there, that is annual return GSTR 4. Since composite supplier is not eligible for input tax credit, so there is no requirement to check whether all compliances of input tax credit is being in accordance with law or not. बहुत easy record keeping होता है. But जो last bullet है उसको अगर हम देखें, when government has decided to increase monetary limit to opt composition scheme, I was of the opinion that probably government is trying to cover small traders, manufacturers, service providers in composition scheme, particular when they are opting presumptive income scheme for filing income tax return. तो नॉर्मली जो स्मॉल ट्रेडर्स मैन्युफैक्चरर होते हैं जब इनकम टैक्स का रिटर्न फाइल करते हैं तो अंडर सेक्शन 44 कैपिटल AD में फाइल करते हैं, जहां पे इनको बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स वगैरह नहीं रखनी पड़ती है. लेकिन अगर आप एक तरफ इनकम टैक्स में 44 AD में रिटर्न फाइल करते हैं और GST में रेगुलर आप SSC की तरह अपने आप को रजिस्टर्ड कराते हैं, देन आपकी कंप्लायंसेस बहुत बढ़ जाती हैं. बट इफ यू आर ऑप्टिंग दिस कंपोजिशन स्कीम, देन लाइफ इज वेरी इजी. जब हम कंपोजिशन स्कीम को डिस्कस करते हैं तो 3-4-5 क्वेश्चंस हैं जो हमारे दिमाग में आते हैं. पहला है हु कैन ऑप्ट इट, and the answer of this question is very important, because I will discuss later on a particular subsection which says that if a person has discharged GST under composition scheme despite of the fact that he was not eligible for composition scheme, then government and department may initiate proceeding under section 73 and 74 of GST Act, and they may initiate proceeding for recovery of penalty. So we must be very careful at the time of opting composition scheme that whether we are eligible for composition scheme or not, and for eligibility, how to calculate aggregate turnover of the previous year, because कंपोजिशन स्कीम ऑप्ट करना इस बात पे डिपेंड करता है कि आपका प्रीवियस ईयर में, प्रीसीडिंग फाइनेंशियल ईयर में एग्रीगेट टर्नओवर क्या था. हाउ टू कैलकुलेट टर्नओवर इन ए स्टेट टू कैलकुलेट टैक्स लायबिलिटी. फ्रेंड्स, इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू अंडरस्टैंड इन कंपोजिशन स्कीम that we will discuss two propositions. One proposition is for eligibility, and for eligibility you have to take care of aggregate turnover of the previous year. और एक बार अगर आपकी eligibility है और आपने composition scheme opt कर लिया, then for calculation of your tax liability you have to consider the turnover of the state. So we will use two terminology: aggregate turnover of the previous year, that is preceding year, and to calculate your tax liability you must consider turnover of the state for the current year. The next important question is that whether a person who has opted composition scheme can supply services along with supply of goods, and what is the new scheme for service provider and other compliances. Friends, composition scheme section 10 से govern होती है, and I will try to highlight the important segment and important part and important aspect of the composition scheme. If you will read section 10 subsection 1, what it says that notwithstanding anything to contrary contained in this act, meaning thereby if you are opting composition scheme, then this section is having overriding effect. But subject to the provision of subsection 3 and 4 of section 9. हम सब ये अप्रिशिएट करते हैं कि जब कोई सप्लायर, ट्रेडर, मैन्युफैक्चरर कंपोजिशन स्कीम ऑप्ट करता है, इसका मतलब वो बहुत छोटा बिजनेसमैन है, बहुत पढ़ा लिखा नहीं होता है. फ्रीक्वेंटली कोई पूछता है कि अगर मैंने कंपोजिशन स्कीम ऑप्ट कर लिया तो क्या मेरे ऊपर आरसीएम की लायबिलिटी आएगी या नहीं आएगी. So one point is very clear from subsection 1 of section 10 itself, that once you had opted composition scheme, you are also liable to discharge GST under subsection 3 and 4. Under section 3-4 means specified goods and services under subsection 3, and purchase from unregistered supplier under subsection 4. Yes, subsection 4 आज के दिन ऑपरेटिव नहीं है, बट एकेडमिकली कंपोजिशन सप्लायर को, कंपोजिशन डीलर को आरसीएम का भी पेमेंट करना पड़ेगा, चाहे वो फ्रेट हो, एडवोकेट का पेमेंट हो, एडवोकेट फर्म का पेमेंट हो, या अदर सर्विसेज हैं जो रिस्पेक्टिव नोटिफिकेशन में जिनकी चर्चा की गई है और मैं आगे करूंगा. Why this particular aspect is very sensitive for a person registered under composition scheme? Because अगर मैं regular method में registered हूं, then what I will do, I will discharge my liability under reverse charge method and I will take input tax credit, meaning thereby RCM will have a situation of neutral tax because I shall be eligible to take input tax credit. लेकिन चूंकि कंपोजिशन स्कीम में आपको इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट नहीं मिलता है, इसलिए आरसीएम में जो भी आप टैक्स लायबिलिटी पे करते हैं उसका वो एक तरीके से आपकी कास्ट या आपकी लागत का पार्ट हो जाता है. द सेकेंड इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट इज दैट eligibility of composition will depend aggregate turnover in the preceding financial year. Section 10 says that aggregate turnover in the preceding financial year did not exceed 50 lakh rupee. However, there is a proviso which empowers to enhance this limit from 50 lakhs to 1 crore 50 lakh. And ultimately this limit is being enhanced to 1 crore 50 lakh rupee, meaning thereby as on today, for all state other than specified state, the criteria, monetary criteria for the aggregate turnover for in the previous year is 1 crore 50 lakh. The next important proposition is may opt to pay. It means that composition levy is the alternative method of payment of tax. If I am registered under GST law, my turnover in the preceding financial year was up to a specified limit. Now I am having option. I may choose, I may select to discharge my tax liability under section 9, or I may opt to discharge my tax liability under section 10. Now the phrase is may ought to pay in lieu of the tax payable by him. Friends, initially there was a confusion. I must say academic confusion only, because subsection 1 was referring may ought to pay in lieu of the tax. Question was, in lieu of tax, which tax? So to remove any kind of confusion, subsequently, lawmaker has substituted this term in lieu of the tax by phrase in lieu of the tax payable by him under subsection 1 of section 9 and amount of tax calculated at such rate. What is the effect of this amendment? साधारण शब्दों में सेक्शन 10 में जो आप टैक्स देते हैं, इट इज अल्टरनेटिव टैक्स. अल्टरनेटिव ऑफ व्हाट? इन लिeu ऑफ व्हाट? इन लिeu ऑफ सेक्शन 9. For eligibility of opting composition scheme, a registered person should recheck aggregate turnover of the preceding year. Notification number 8/2017 dated 27th June, limit was extended from 50 lakh to 75 lakh. This 75 lakh is being further extended by notification number 14/2019 from 75 lakhs to 1 crore 50 lakhs with effect from 1st April 2019. For the purpose of this subsection, what is the meaning of aggregate turnover? Aggregate turnover means turnover as defined in subsection 6 of section 2, and it will include all supply, all taxable supply, exempt supplies, export of goods or services or both, and interstate supplies of persons having the same permanent account number. Friends, we should be very careful that when you are testing eligibility to opt composition scheme, turnover will include turnover of all registration of one permanent account number. Meaning thereby, if I am registered in Kanpur having turnover of 40 lakh rupee, I am having another registration in the city in Banaras having turnover 40 lakh rupee, and third registration in Delhi having turnover of 1 crore rupee in the previous year. So for eligibility criteria, you will appreciate that aggregate turnover is 1 crore 80 lakh rupee. So meaning thereby, despite of the fact that your turnover in the state is only 80 lakh rupee, you shall not be eligible to opt composition scheme. So we must be very careful at the time of opting the composition scheme. There is a restriction that if you are opting composition scheme under subsection 1 of section 10, then there is a restriction that you should not be engaged in supply of services. I will discuss other restriction in the case of composition scheme, because बहुत सारे changes time to time composition scheme में होते रहे. But at present, let us discuss that person opted for composition levy may supply services other than those referred in clause B of para 6 of the schedule of value not exceeding 10% of turnover in a state in the preceding year or 5 lakh rupee, whichever is higher. मेरे हिसाब से इस पर्टिकुलर स्लाइड को और अच्छे से समझने की कोशिश करते हैं। से धर्मेंद्र श्रीवास्तव एक रिटेल शॉप चलाते हैं और मेरी टर्नओवर 1,20,00,000 रुपए है यूपी में, और मैं केवल यूपी में ही रजिस्टर्ड हूं। In addition to this turnover, I am also earning income in the head of commission of 3 lakh rupees. इसका मतलब यह है कि I am engaged in supply of goods, I am engaged in supply of services. So initially, I was not eligible for opting composition scheme. But if you will read second proviso of section 10 subsection 1, which is applicable with effect from 1st February 2019, it is permitting supply of services, but up to a limit. What is the limit? 10% of turnover in a state or union territory the preceding financial year. Why I am highlighting this particular point, that in earlier slide, when I was discussing aggregate turnover, I was referring aggregate turnover of a particular person or particular PAN number. But here they are saying that aggregate turnover in a state or union territory the preceding financial year 10% या 5 लाख रुपए जो ज्यादा हो। इसके अलावा you may supply services under class B of para 6 of schedule 2। ये जो class B और para 6 है, it refers supply of services in the form of restaurant, supply of foods, beverages for human consumption. Friends, you will note that turnover in state is defined in section 2 subsection 112. Aggregate turnover was defined in section 2 subsection 6. तो आपको हमेशा ये ध्यान रखना है कब हमें एग्रीगेट टर्नओवर कंसीडर करना है, कब हमें टर्नओवर इन स्टेट कंसीडर करना है। Now once we discuss second proviso of section 10 subsection 1, another relaxation is there. What is another relaxation? That relaxation is in the shape of explanation, which was inserted by Finance Act 2019. What is the explanation and what is the impact? For the purposes of second proviso, the value of exempt supply of services provided by way of extending deposits, loans or advances insofar as the consideration is represented by way of interest or discount shall not be taken into account for determining the value of turnover in a state or union territory. अब व्यवहारिक रूप से देखें, what is the practical use of this explanation? मेरा टर्नओवर 1,40,00,000 रुपए है और जो बाय वे ऑफ इनकम बाय वे ऑफ interest is the consideration for extending deposit, loans and advances. So it may be 15 lakh, it may be 12 lakh, it may be 2 lakh rupee. So by virtue of this explanation, the turnover of interest, because unfortunately interest is being treated as exempt supply under GST law. There may be a separate academic debate that whether consideration in the shape of interest is qualifying definition of supply or not. I'm not going on that part. But this explanation is extending relaxation that interest shall not be considered at the time of calculation of turnover of the state for the composition levy or composition scheme. Now let us discuss another proposition. Say, I'm planning to opt composition scheme in the financial year 2021. And initially, I was not registered under the provision of GST law. Why I was not registered under the provision of GST law? My turnover, aggregate turnover, may not exceed 40 lakh rupee, may not exceed 20 lakh rupee in the case of supply of services. Now, the moment I crossed my turnover 40 lakh rupee, now I am opting to obtain registration under GST law. And at the time of registering myself, the appropriate and the relevant format is REG 1. Part B of REG 1 provides me an option that whether I am interested to opt composition scheme or not. So if I am opting composition scheme, so whether turnover during the period when I was not registered shall be considered to compute aggregate turnover or not. Explanation 1 of subsection 5 clarifies this position, and it says that for the purposes of computing aggregate turnover of a person, for what? For determining his eligibility to pay tax under this subsection, I am once again repeating that please be careful that at the time of testing your eligibility, lawmaker is using term aggregate turnover. And when you will calculate your tax liability, they will use turnover of the state. So this explanation is saying that at the time of determination of eligibility, expression aggregate turnover shall include the value of supplies made by such person from the first day of April of financial year up to the date when he becomes liable for registration under this act. इसका मतलब जिस पीरियड में आप रजिस्टर्ड नहीं थे उस समय के जो टर्नओवर है उसको भी एग्रीगेट टर्नओवर में कंसीडर्ड किया जाएगा। एक क्वेश्चन मन में ये आ सकता है कि पहले डिस्कशन में मैंने कहा था एग्रीगेट टर्नओवर ऑफ द प्रीसीडिंग ईयर। So what is the relevant of this explanation in the context of aggregate turnover of the preceding year? Friends, this explanation is relevant where I started my business in the current financial year. Because ये भी situation हो सकती है कि पिछले साल में हमारी कोई भी turnover नहीं थी. So this explanation is divided in two parts. First limb is inclusive clause and the second is exclusive, but shall not include the value of exempt supply of services provided by way of extending deposits, loans or advances insofar as the consideration is represented by way of interest or discount. Now, friends, please see the explanation 2. Explanation 2 is relevant and very important for the purpose of calculation of your tax liability after opting composition under section 10. What is the relevance of explanation 2? For the purposes of determining the tax payable by a person under this section, the expression turnover in the state or turnover in UT shall not include the value of following supplies. Supplies from the first day of April of a financial year up to the date when such person becomes liable for registration under this act. This clarification was very relevant, and this clarification was required because otherwise explanation 1 से कोई confusion ये हो सकता था कि अगर मैंने composition scheme opt कर लिया aggregate turnover के लिए unregistered, जब मैं unregistered था उसके turnover को count किया, तो क्या tax liability calculate करते समय भी उस turnover को consider करेंगे जो turnover मेरे registration के पहले का है. So this explanation is very important, and it is saying clearly that उस फाइनेंशियल ईयर का 1 अप्रैल से लेके जब तक आप रजिस्ट्रेशन ऑप्ट करते हैं तब तक का टर्नओवर कंसीडर्ड नहीं करेंगे. और क्या चीज कंसीडर नहीं करेंगे? exempt supply of services provided by way of extending deposit, loans or advances in so far as the consideration is represented by way of interest or discount. इन दो एलिमेंट को, ये दो एलिमेंट दो सप्लाईज टर्नओवर की डिफिनेशन में आते हैं, बट फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ कैलकुलेशन ऑफ टैक्स लायबिलिटी दीज टू सेगमेंट, दीज टू आइटम्स शैल बी एक्सक्लूडेड. अभी तक के डिस्कशन में आप सब ने ये अप्रिशिएट किया होगा कि ये डेट, एक्सप्लेनेशन, प्राविजो पूरे प्रेजेंटेशन को या पूरे लेबी को बड़ा कंफ्यूजिंग कर देते हैं. सो आई हैव ट्राइड टू समराइज दिस प्रपोजिशन. क्या चीज शामिल होगी, क्या चीज शामिल नहीं होगी. 1 जुलाई 17 से 12 अक्टूबर 2017 से नो एक्सक्लूजन एक्सेप्ट सप्लाई अंडर क्लॉज बी ऑफ पैरा 6, दैट इज रेस्टोरेंट सर्विस और सप्लाई ऑफ फूड आइटम्स. 13 अक्टूबर 2017 से 31 जनवरी 2009 तक composition allowed if engage in supply of exempt services including supply of services by way of extended deposit, loans and advances. 1 फरवरी 2019 से 31 दिसंबर 2019 तक supplies under clause B of para 6, supply of services by way of extended deposit, other services not exceeding 10%, और 1 जनवरी 2020 से interest shall not be considered for calculation of above limit. In addition to restrictions discussed by me, there are numbers of restrictions specified in subsection 2 of section 10, mainly a person who is engaged in making any supply of goods which are not liable to tax under this act. ऐसा कोई भी रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन जो ऐसे गुड्स की सप्लाई करता है जिसके ऊपर टैक्स की लेवी नहीं है. अब टैक्स की लेवी किस चीज के ऊपर नहीं है? लेट अस रिकॉल सेक्शन 9 सबसेक्शन 1 एंड सेक्शन 9 सबसेक्शन 2. सबसेक्शन 1 में अल्कोहलिक लीकर को अलग किया गया, बाहर किया गया. सबसेक्शन 2 में कुछ आइटम्स ऐसे हैं जिनको फॉर द टाइमिंग जीएसटी के लेवी से बाहर किया गया. अगर मैं उन आइटम्स की सप्लाई करता हूं तो मैं कंपोजिशन स्कीम को ऑप्ट नहीं कर सकता हूं. से टेक एन एग्जांपल, मैं रिटेल ट्रेडर हूं, साथ ही साथ मैं डीजल या पेट्रोल पंप को भी ऑपरेट करता हूं. Now in this proposition says I am engaged in supply of diesel and petrol which is covered under subsection 2 of section 9. So irrespective of the fact that my aggregate turnover may be within limit specified, but however by virtue of subsection 2 I shall not be eligible to opt composition scheme. The next and very important restriction is,
Dharmenji, we have 10 minutes more.
Sir, he is not engaged in making any interstate outward supply. यानी कि वो ऐसा कोई भी व्यक्ति, ऐसा कोई registered person जो interstate supply goods की करता है, वो भी नहीं ले सकता है composition scheme. He is not supplying goods through electronic commerce operator. Friends, if you will concentrate in clause B, C, and D, term goods is being highlighted. But by virtue of Finance Act 2020, term service is being added in these clauses. However, as per my understanding, उस क्लास को उसको अभी नोटिफाइड नहीं किया गया है. इसका मतलब ये है कि कोई भी ऐसा रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन जो इंटरस्टेट सप्लाई करता है, नॉन लेवेबल आइटम को सप्लाई करता है या ई कॉमर्स ऑपरेटर के थ्रू सप्लाई करता है, वह कंपोजिशन स्कीम नहीं ले सकता है. गवर्नमेंट ने कुछ मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एक्टिविटीज को नोटिफाइड किया है, उसमें आइसक्रीम है, पान मसाला है. अगर आप उस सेक्टर में हैं तो भी आप कंपोजिशन स्कीम नहीं ले सकते. कैजुअल टैक्सेबल पर्सन, नॉन रेजिडेंशियल टैक्सेबल पर्सन भी कंपोजिशन स्कीम को ऑप्ट नहीं कर सकता है. These are the items which are being notified, which are being excluded from the scheme of composition. Ice cream, pan masala, tobacco, all these items are there. Sir, it is very important to refer section 9(4). 9(4) आरसीएम को डील करता है और ये कहता है कि कंपोजिशन जो डीलर है या जिसने कंपोजिशन लेवी को ऑप्ट किया है, वो आरसीएम की टैक्स लायबिलिटी पे करेगा. मैं सिर्फ एक लिमिटेड पॉइंट यहां पे रिफर करना चाहता हूं, वो ये कि सेक्शन 9(4) वाज डीलिंग विद अ सिचुएशन where a registered person is purchasing something from unregistered person. But fortunately, this section is not in operation as on today, because this section was substituted by another subsection. और जिन लोगों ने कंपोजिशन स्कीम ऑप्ट किया है, उसके लिए कोई भी सर्विस, कोई भी गुड्स या सर्विसेज अभी नोटिफाइड नहीं हुई है जो सेक्शन 9(4) में कवर्ड हो. इसका मतलब ये है कि अगर आपने कंपोजिशन स्कीम को ऑप्ट किया है तो आरसीएम में आज के दिन केवल उन्हीं सर्विसेज के ऊपर, उन्हीं गुड्स के ऊपर आपको आरसीएम देना है जो सेक्शन 9(3) से गवर्न होता है. फ्रेंड्स, वी मस्ट बी वेरी केयरफुल दैट आफ्टर ऑप्टिंग कंपोजिशन स्कीम you cannot collect GST from your recipient, and after opting this scheme you cannot avail any kind of input tax credit. In addition to that, you cannot issue tax invoice, meaning thereby if you are supplying goods or services under composition scheme, आपको बिल ऑफ सप्लाई इशू करना है. उस बिल ऑफ सप्लाई के ऊपर आपको ये डिस्क्लोजर देना है कि यू आर कवर्ड अंडर कंपोजिशन स्कीम. The moment you will cross specified monetary limits, this composition scheme shall automatically be treated as seized. इसका मतलब ये है कि जैसे ही आप एक पर्टिकुलर जो मॉनिटरी लिमिट स्पेसिफाइड होती है 1.5 करोड़ या 50 लाख रुपए इन द केस ऑफ सर्विसेज, तो देन आफ्टर अचीविंग दैट टर्नओवर you will be governed and you will be treated as regular assessee for the purpose of levy of GST, और वो आप सेक्शन 9 सबसेक्शन 1 से गवर्न होंगे. लास्ट में I will again reiterate and to recall subsection 5 of section 10, that if the proper officer has reason to believe that a taxable person has paid tax under subsection 1 or subsection 2A. Subsection 2A सर्विस प्रोवाइडर को कंपोजिशन स्कीम की एलिजिबिलिटी को तय करता है. As the case may be deposit despite not being eligible. अगर आप एलिजिबल नहीं थे क्यों एलिजिबल नहीं थे, कोई भी ऐसा रीजन हो सकता है जो मैंने अभी तक डिस्कस किया, then such person shall, in addition to any tax that may be payable by him under any other provision of this act, be liable to a penalty, and the provisions of section 73 or 74 shall apply. Friends, this topic is a kind of procedural topic. So जो भी limited time था, I have tried my best to explain the relevant provisions of composition scheme. I am once again thankful to the entire team for providing me this opportunity to at least share my thought in relation to composition scheme. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Dharmendra sir. You have explained very nicely in a simple language, in a slow motion, for the benefit of the members as well as office staff who has joined to receive your lecture. We have tried to understand the various provisions, explanations, one after the other, and you had dealt it with very nicely. I just wanted to know one question. Why alcohol for human consumption has been kept out? What is the reason behind it? Because many members ask this question, why it is not included, why it is out?
Sir, probably I'm not the eligible person. I'm not competent enough to explain why it is being excluded. But one thing I'm very sure that alcoholic liquor for human consumption is being excluded from section 9 subsection 1, right? Probably A.K. Srivastava sir is the right person to explain why it has been excluded from scope of GST. But I wish that every supply, every commercial commodity, every commercial transaction must be part of GST, as well as we were expecting from the government at the time of initiating of this concept of GST. However, probably A.K. Srivastava sir is raising hand and he will substitute my point.
Yes, Srivastava.
Sir, we have received 2 questions in chat box. Should I read out the questions first, sir? Then.
No, Srivastava ji wanted to say something.
No, I just wanted to respond on this issue of GST not being levied on alcoholic liquor for human consumption. You see, basically, as far as the on manufacture, in the country we had traditionally had excise duty. As far as liquor is concerned, this has always been a state subject. And the state governments generally levy a tax on manufacture of liquor. There is a stillhead duty, import duty, export duty. The entire gamut of manufacturing duty or say taxes on liquor is entirely different from what we generally have. See, you'd be surprised to know that yes, in a state where it is manufactured, under that state law, there would be a duty law called stillhead duty. That is.
Srivastava ji, you are an income tax expert. We will get this answer from KL Goel sir.
No, sir, I am telling this. I can tell you because I worked in a distillery for 13 years. So,
okay.
That is the background that I have.
Okay.
We had there is a stillhead duty which is paid to that particular state where it is manufactured. Okay. Then there is an export fee. Then the state where it is consumed, there is an import fee. Okay. So the entire gamut of taxation of alcoholic liquor is different from what generally we have for manufacturing of any product, or that is the excise duty and all.
हम चेयरमैन सर से पूछेंगे इसका
चेयरमैन सर he had to go, मतलब थोड़ा सा probably he wanted to have some rest.
Okay, no problem.
थोड़ा सा उन्होंने ये taken for you. He requested that.
So Dharmendra ji, there is one very important question. Normally people like to know, clients like to know, as well as the junior consultants like to know कि composition opt करना किस केस में beneficial रहता है. Suppose I am a manufacturer and I am selling my goods to registered persons. not to consumers only. Because I'm a manufacturer, it is not necessary that I have to sell it to consumer. I'm producing those goods which I have to sell to registered person as well as to consumers also. And I may be having a business in which only consumers are involved, straight away they buy from me. So member sometimes wants to know where opting composition is advisable.
Sir, as per my understanding and as per my experience, that if I am registered and I am selling my product or services to a person who is not registered under provision of GST, or who is the ultimate consumer, meaning thereby, if my recipient is not eligible for input tax credit or he is not opting for input tax credit, in that case, we should go for the composition scheme. This is the first part of my answer. The second part is, sir, there may be a situation where we are dealing with such items where you cannot keep your records properly, or you are not able to maintain books of account. Say there may be such situation when I am offering my income under section 44AD, I am not maintaining books of account. But for the purpose of GST, there may be a requirement of maintenance of records. और सर आज के दिन क्या है, इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट लेने के लिए कंप्लायंसेस बहुत बढ़ गई है, तो पहले उन लोगों को सर कंपोजिशन स्कीम लेनी चाहिए जो इंड कंज्यूमर को माल बेच रहे हैं. इसका मतलब ये है कि इंड कंज्यूमर को सर इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट नहीं लेना है, या हमारे कस्टमर ऐसे लोग हैं जो बिजनेस में हैं बट उनकी टर्नओवर इतनी कम है कि वो जीएसटी में रजिस्टर्ड नहीं है. तो इन दो सिचुएशन पे हमको कंपोजिशन स्कीम में जाना चाहिए. बिकॉज अगर सर आप देखें तो कंपोजिशन स्कीम में जब आप माल बेचते हैं तो ये सस्ता नहीं होता है वो, बिकॉज अल्टीमेटली आपने जब परचेज किया तो उसके ऊपर इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट का क्रेडिट नहीं मिला, आपका वैल्यू एडिशन हुआ, आपका प्रॉफिट का एडिशन हुआ, देन अगेन यू आर चार्जिंग 1% ऑन एंटायर ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू. सो अल्टीमेटली सर, इफ आई एम द बायर and I am having option that whether I should purchase from a registered person, regular registered person, or from a person who opted composition scheme, naturally I will go to the registered person, right sir? But that's why sir, मैंने ये बोला कि this composition scheme is optional scheme, and every associate or every person who is engaged in business must analyze merits and demerits of this composition scheme. Only then he should go for the composition.
Very right, very right. Yes, Anuj, you have two questions.
Sir, there are two questions in the chat box. One is raised by Mr. Vineet Gandhi of Panchkula. His question is RCM applicable to composition dealer on purchase from unregistered person? Then further it has been asked by Mr. Shubham Gupta, if tax is payable under RCM for the purchases from unregistered dealer, then what is the tax liability? I understand this has already been answered by Dharmendra sir, but in case he wants to add something.
अनु सर, मैंने बिल्कुल क्लियरली, बिकॉज आप देखिए ना, मैं ये बात समझता था कि जो लोग कंपोजिशन स्कीम ऑप्ट करते हैं वो बहुत छोटे बिजनेसमैन होते हैं, उनके मन में यही 2-3 क्वेश्चंस आते हैं, आईटीसी मिलेगा नहीं मिलेगा, हमें आरसीएम में देना है या नहीं देना है. बट सिंस learned friend has asked only for purchase from unregistered dealer, it right. means that his question is related with section 9 subsection 4. So fortunately section 9 subsection 4 is not practically applicable as on today for the person who has opted composition scheme. तो जिन लोगों ने कंपोजिशन स्कीम ऑप्ट किया है, केवल 9(3) में जो सर्विसेज या आइटम आ रहे हैं, अगर आप उनको परचेज करते हैं तो आपको आरसीएम देना है और इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट लेने का कोई सवाल नहीं उठता है. इट शुड बी ट्रीटेड एज एक्सपेंडिचर इन योर बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट और इन योर प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस.
धर्मेंद्र जी, जो लॉ में ये लिखा है कि कंपोजिशन डीलर विल नॉट, इफ बाइज फ्रॉम अनरजिस्टर्ड पर्सन देन ही हैज टू पे टैक्स ऑन दैट.
बट सर, चूंकि आज के दिन 9(4) ऑपरेशनल नहीं है composition scheme के लिए, because there are certain goods which are being notified under section 9(4). As per my understanding, that notification is only relevant for builder. तो आज के दिन सर अगर composition scheme हम opt करते हैं और unregistered से purchase करते हैं तो हमें कोई भी RCM में टैक्स नहीं देना है.
Very nice.
The next question is raised by Mr. Shankit Shah. Sanchit Shahji, I request you to please read out your question as I am not very clear about the question you have written. So please अपना question एक बार read कर दीजिए Sanchit Shahji. Hello.
Hello.
Unmute
Hello.
Already unmuted.
Hello.
हाँ Sanchit Shahji, you are audible.
Hello.
Please speak.
Should we take the next question first, sir, then? Next question, Shriya Thakkar. She wants to ask some question. Shriya, you can continue, please. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Shriya,
क्वेश्चन मेरा हो गया क्लियर वो हाँ थैंक यू सर मेरा क्वेश्चन क्लियर हो गया वो अनरजिस्टर्ड पर्सन से जो माल परचेस करते हैं कंपोजिशन डीलर तो उसको आरसीएम लगता है कि नहीं 94 का वो क्लियर हो गया कि अभी नहीं लगेगा तो अच्छी बात है
वेरी नाइस
हो गया
ठीक है सर.
वेरी नाइस
थैंक यू सर थैंक यू सर
Mr. Kushal. Mr. Kushal. Kushalji, you raise your hand for question. I think he is not there, sir. So now all the questions which are in the chat box have been answered. Over to you, Madam sir.
Yes, sir. So, श्रीवास्तव जी आप क्या कह रहे थे कि मिस्टर केएल गोयल हैज लेफ्ट?
हाँ, केएल गोयल साहब थोड़ा सा उन्होंने मांगा था.
ओके. What about Raj K. Batra, sir?
नहीं, Raj Batra ji is very much there. I think we can have the concluding remark from Mr. Batra. But before that, may I also request Mr. B.R. Kaushal is there? अगर वो कुछ कौशल साहब कुछ can we have some word of wisdom from him? Mr. B.R. Kaushal को अनम्यूट कर दीजिए. अनुज. B.R. Kaushal.
Thank you, sir.
Right. Done, sir.
Yeah. Kaushal sir.
Sir, thank you very much. मैं सिर्फ यही ऐड करूंगा कि जहां पर कंपोजिशन स्कीम में ये पूछा गया कि ये बेनिफिशियल किसके लिए है. Those who are declaring profit GP at the rate of 20%, 25% or 15%, if you calculate that very GP rate, then the person who is opting for composition scheme is better than those which are earlier that in normal cases, because of the fact he is to pay on the gross at the rate of 1%, whereas if the GP rate is 20% and the rate of applicable is 12% or 18%, then that tax is much more than the those who are paying by virtue of composition scheme. So that is beneficial. All those who are declaring their GP rate 15%, 20%, 25%, that is much better than those for those persons. Second, in a pandemic situation, we are doing it very nice by updating the day-to-day to our professional brothers. It is a very nice and a very beneficial to all of us, and I also thankful to the organizer who are organizing such a webinar. Thank you very much.
So Srinivas ji, please request Mr. Raj K. Batra ji to please give his concluding remarks.
I think Batra ji, I request you to kindly give the concluding remarks for today's session and your views on the topic.
The chairman of the session, the speaker, Shri Srivastava ji and Anuj. When the speaker of the day was introduced, it was made clear that he would clarify this subject lucidly and in great detail in a simple way. To my mind, he has proved the organizers right. He has clarified the issue very clearly, and we all are benefited from his deliberations. The subject has been explained in a very simple language. I, on my own behalf and on behalf of all the organizers, extend my thanks to all of you and to the participants for having joined this webinar. I request Mr. Madan to keep it up. It's a nice service to the society.
Sir, thank you so much. Thank you very much. Today, since there were 2 programs in North Zone, we had some thin attendance, but we hope to have a better attendance from tomorrow onwards and in the coming up sessions. It's a very nicely arranged by Mr. A.K. Shrivastava, Mr. Anuj Bansal, and with a good support, with a big support from the chairman, secretary of the zone, and Mr. A.K. Shrivastava. Now you can request Mr. Secretary of the zone if he is available for vote of thanks.
Yes. I think he is available. I can see him.
Please.
Puneet is available. Anuj, kindly unmute Puneet.
Done, sir.
And can we, Madan sir, can we also say a few words about tomorrow's program as to what is going to be there tomorrow, and then about the speaker?
Tomorrow we'll be having a program on supply, scope of supply, schedule 1, schedule 2, schedule 3, which Mr. Dharmen Shrivastava was talking that another speaker will be there. So Mr. Mukul Gupta is the speaker on the subject. He is a very expert person, having expert knowledge. And 2-3 days back, he was on NDTV discussion with Mr. Ravish Kumar on GST itself. So it's a big speaker from Ghaziabad, and hopefully we'll be having a very good discussion on tomorrow on scope of supply, because scope of supply is the topic which is supply and ITC are the 2 subjects which are soul of GST basically. So please request Mr. Puneet for vote of thanks.
Before that, I would also request Rajbatra ji and Mr. Bhatia to kindly keep joining us on all the programs, so that we can have their word. We can have the word of their wisdom also.
For their blessings.
Yeah,
it's a pleasure to be with you, Shrivastava Sahab. It's a pleasure to be present.
We all gain from your experience and your knowledge. Yeah,
Madan sir, before we go for the vote of thanks, I am seeing one more query that has come up from Mr. M. Prabhakar, Ongole, AP. So, if you permit, I'll just...
Sure, take it up, Puneet. Take it up, please.
Okay. He is asking, if composition dealer purchased goods from unregistered person, then he need to pay tax under RCM. Am I right? And he would require the answer in English, because he is not very comfortable with Hindi. So if Dharmen ji can take it up.
So Puneet, this query is very clear, and my answer is also very clear, that if you are registered under provision of GST and opted composition scheme, and if you are purchasing goods from unregistered supplier, then there is no requirement to pay GST under reverse charge mechanism under section 9 subsection 4 as on today, and I don't know what will happen tomorrow, but as on today it is not taxable.
So I hope Mr. Prabhakar,
in fact, Dharmenji, this question is hitting everybody in the audience. So everybody is asking this question only. Very nice, good answer.
I hope Mr. Prabhakar sir has got his answer that he was looking for. Now coming to the formalities of the vote of thanks, friends, it was this session became extra special with the blessings of our immediate past president, Dr. Ashok Saraf ji, who graced the session with his presence. I would like to thank our chairman, North Zone, Asim Zafar ji, I would like to also thank our session chairman, Shri K.L. Goyal ji, for providing his valuable inputs. The guest of honor, Raj Batra ji, our prolific speaker, Dharmen ji, for so succinctly covering all the points. It was wonderful to hear you. It's been a long time since we saw you in Banaras, and now we are seeing you online, and we hope to continue seeing you more.
Sure, please.
Our Vice President, Shri Srivastav ji, for his continuous efforts. Our course director, Madan ji, for bringing about such a wonderful course, which is, we were expecting that this course was for the youngsters, but everybody, I think age has not been a bar, and everybody is feeling like a youngster and participating in these sessions, which is a very good sign, and it's made the session extra special because of the participation of such seniors. I would like to thank our treasurer, AIFTP, Chirag Parekh Bhai, was also present in the session.
Yes, sir.
And Sri Bhatia ji, our senior, for his blessings. Sri VP Gupta ji for his blessings. OP Shukla ji, Arvind Shukla ji, Madam Jamna Shukla ji from Banaras. Sri Vikas Vats ji was also present. Sri Nitin Gautam ji was present.
Santosh Gupta also there.
Santosh Gupta ji is present. My elder brothers, Anuj Bhaiya, and I'm seeing a lot of youngsters from Banaras though. I would like to name a few: Govind, Vijay ji, Vijay Jain, Somnath ji, Sujit. I think you would have gained a lot. Sir, while I'm giving my vote of thanks, I am seeing another query that has come up. Should I take
It is also the
Yes, please.
It is
go on.
also-
Please.
So, Dharmen ji, this query is, sir, if a composition person purchasing goods with unregistered person, that the goods have 18% tax on it, is he liable to pay a tax at the rate 18%, or is he liable to pay
Again,
a
the
tax only
same query.
1%?
Answer is same. There is no liability of payment of tax.
almost same
Right.
query.
So, Shubham, I think your query is also answered. I have come to the end of my vote of thanks also. Thank you so much, friends. I remind you, tomorrow the next session is from 11 o'clock to 1 p.m. and there's another wonderful speaker, Sri Mukul Gupta ji. So come with lots of queries, participate, and I think it's going to be a wonderful session again.
Dharmen ji,